Okay, so welcome to this video again. Hi, Steve. Thank
Hi.
you for coming. So, so those who are watching the video, we discussed a little bit about we started to discuss continuous integration, and then the idea that it shouldn't take a long time. Okay, right? And then you said that you have some database and that's big, and also the compilation of so the syntax check of the pipe of the Perl files or scripts or modules or whatever takes a long time, and the database needs to be populated and so on. And we talked about how to rebuild the database or how to rebuild certain parts. And actually, maybe I should have done this before we turn on the video, because I'm not sure I can show the whole thing. But so first of all, on GitHub Actions, you can let's switch to the share the screen, and let's move it here. Okay, so in GitHub Actions, you can set conditions. I think we saw them, no? In GitHub Actions, conditions. And if it's not, that we're going to look at them now anyway, using conditions to control job execution. Okay, so you can have on various levels of the GitHub workflow, you can have statements like this. Okay, now this one specifically, I guess, checks whether you are in the right repository. So I guess this would mean that if you fork the repository, then this job won't run in the forked repository. Sort of, I think this is the case. But you can have tons of other conditions. And I'm looking for, I know that I have this in one of the workflows that I have at a client, but it's on GitLab. So it's not the same syntax, but I'm quite sure that you have something like this, that basically it says that run this step even, okay, so and these conditions can be both here at the level of the job and at the level of the step as well. So this one I can actually show you. I have this project. Which one is this? Actually, it doesn't really matter. Even our project is, so even the one that we are using here, OSDC not the site generate. I think even here inside GitHub workflows CI. So this is the project of our course, and yes. So even here, I have on the step level, there is an if condition. This uses this GitHub reference, so making sure that it will only run if we are in the main branch. Okay. Because I didn't want to upload the artifact when someone is sending me a pull request. Basically, that was the idea. And here also, here there is a full job. So in this workflow file, I have two jobs: the generate job and the deploy job. And this one, where the whole job has some condition. Okay, and these conditions. So GitHub action condition. Okay, run if a file changed. So in the client project, at the client, what we have, one of the jobs is building the Docker image, and there we have condition that it needs to run if the Docker file change, or the file that describes the requirements, the dependencies changes, or maybe the workflow file changes. So a couple of these meta files change, then build the image. Okay. This thing. So here, how is it working? Steps, filter, outputs. Where's the filter? Outputs of workflows. Okay, where is this? Okay, here it is. Okay, so here we have one step. Oh, I guess it's using some action called Dorney pass filter. Okay, but I guess there is something better. Okay, so basically, I think I'll show you something else before that. That again I wrote, so I know that it works now. So this is this project where I'm collecting data about open source companies and projects, and yes, and the cache, you might recall, I think we covered this. The way the cache works is that says that it needs a key, and the key is based on the date, and the date is calculated in the previous step. So basically here we have a step that runs echo, okay, and then stores that in this magic variable called GitHub output, and then in a later step you can say that steps dot get date, the ID of that stage. So I'm accessing the ID. You see, so in this step I'm accessing the get date step and the output of it. And I don't know what is this date here. Oh, because it says date equal. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it outputs that one. So that's why we have this date. Okay, and then well, this thing will give you a date of year, month, and day. So now we have a key that is basically OSDC dash and the current day, the date of the current day, and that's how the cache will work. That so during the same day, it will keep finding the same cache. But if you run it next day, it will say, okay, I don't have that cache anymore, or at all, because that's a new cache key, and that's how it will rebuild it. So we can try to figure it out how to do this for a file, but basically you can say here, I guess. You can. I'm now wondering what can we do. I don't know, but I'm not sure now what to do here. But you can do something that let's say run ls on the file and then compare it to maybe. I mean, you can use the cache of sorry, what you're using the. So GitHub Actions, right? Okay, so cache. Okay, so you're you wanted to make sure that something is rebuilt. Well, that can be some if it's not. I mean, you're using a cache, and if it's not cached, then it will be rebuilt, right? So you can have some code that will run, look at the cache, and if it's there, then use the cache, and if it's not there, then starts building it, right? And then you can make the cache depend on the date of the file. Okay, the last let's say the SHA of the last commit of the file, right? So the ID of the SHA1 of the and then so. And then that would be the ID. Okay, there is actually an example like this. Now I remembered suddenly GitHub Actions. That I remember I saw it depending on sha, GitHub action cache. I saw this example somewhere, so I'm looking for now. Okay. Oh, so you don't even need to do that. You can hash file. You can use this hash file function. Okay, that will generate a hash from any file. So if you are looking for one or more files, okay, you can use it on more files. This hash file.
Okay, that's better.
Okay, you can do it this way. Okay, and then you can say, okay, this will give you a hash. And so here is this cache. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. So this one has a hash based on the operating system. And a cache name. I don't know what is cache name here. Okay, this one. Okay, I don't know why do we need that one, but okay, whatever. And the hash generated from these files here. Okay, all the package log files. Okay, so npm. So these are all the files that list all the dependencies, right? In Node. And it says, okay, so the cache key depends on all these. So as long as these don't change, we can use the same cache. And once any of these things change, so any of these files basically change, or if we are running on a different operating system, or if someone somehow changes this one, okay, then we need to rebuild the cache. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the code itself can just, I mean, it doesn't even, in the cache, you don't even need to store any real thing. You might just put a file there, right? And then in your code here that, let's say, rebuilds the database, looks at if does that file exist? And if it doesn't, then it rebuilds the database or does whatever build it needs and creates the file. And then that file, which is just a file, let's say, with even an empty file, that will be stored as the cache. So the next run, that file will be restored, so your code won't execute. Shall we try to build that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's build something like this. So work mkdir GitHub actions and run code if file changes, if files change. Okay, let's call it this and very long name, right? And I'm going to create a repository for this. So we'll have a project. Okay, so GitHub and the new repository. This is the name of the vector repository. Create repository. Wonderful. So here I am here readme and run stack if some files change. Okay, and then make the GitHub workflows -p, and then I'm going to copy the GitHub actions bash GitHub workflow CI to GitHub workflow. So these are just this is just one of the examples that you can find on the CodeMaven website, and I'm just copying it here so we can get started with something. Okay, and so what shall we do? So we need a step that will we need. Okay, wait a second. Git init and git status git add and git init. Okay, and then I can connect the two repositories, and this should only run the action. Okay, and then we do something like this. So we say we I copy the whole thing, and then I will remove what we don't need. Okay, Vim GitHub workflows CI. So I will even where shall I put it? Maybe I should put really at the beginning of this whole thing, but before cache. Okay, and then just say echo before. And then we have here something that let's see what. So we have a cache, not node modules, cache. I don't know, ID cache something. I don't have any idea. We are running. We don't need the environment variable. We don't need this, and we can have a folder here. That this is the folder. This is the path of the it can even be a file. So it needs rebuild. Okay, no, it needs rebuild. No, it doesn't need it. Was build. Was build. I don't know. Okay. OS. Do we want to depend on the OS or we don't care?
No. Don't care.
Okay. The key is build. We don't have this one. And then we depend on what? What kind of files? On all the txt files?
Oh, tell me.
Or what? Or make file cleaner?
Can you have two different files there rather than?
Yeah, I think you can have
like a common delimited or something. I don't know how it would work.
Or we can have them two of these one after the other.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I'm just thinking that.
But this is just a glob expression, so I think you can have anything here.
Okay.
But let's start with one. Okay, let's start with one.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, let's do this one, right? That's Python. Okay,
yeah, okay.
Doesn't matter. Okay, we have a file called requirements, and then we'll see that. So I create a file here, requirement. Oh, txt, and then say hello. Okay, and do we need these restore keys? I don't remember. OSDC, open source, GitHub workflow, CI. So for the cache, we need the path and the key. The path and the key. I don't know what the restore key is here. Okay. So now this thing will cache the was build file if it's there, and it will try to restore it next time we run if we get the same key. So we have here name and then we can say something. Oh, I don't know how to say. We can even in our code. Okay, let's have. GitHub action if file exists. No. Okay, shall we? Okay, so first thing, okay. So here, how do you say? I always forget about it. Minus E.
Okay.
And it's not, it shouldn't be this. Minus E was build txt if it exists, or echo building. Okay, let's write this shell script here. Build sh. Okay, so it says if minus E was built, then echo. Okay, you need to help me. Do you know shell well? Echo start building. Dutch was built next to. Okay, but this is not correct, right? We need some square brackets here.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah, something like no. Do we?
I think you do.
I
I'll
don't
have to
know. I
look it
never
up.
know. I never know. I always have to look up
I
how
know,
I
me
write
too.
build sh. Oh no, I closed it. Build sh. Build sh. So do I need to put this? No, this looks really strange. Okay, so let's say bash if file exists. Okay. If test minus E, okay. If test minus F minus E file name semicolon, then, okay, and I don't know if you need to have the semicolon. Okay, so if test not exist, that's the right thing? Yes, okay. And if I run it again, then it won't run, okay? Because it created it. So this will say start building and then create this file. Okay? So here you put in all the building stuff. Okay? And this one just will indicate that we have finished building. Okay? And so here in this one, I am just running this build sh. Build sh. Okay, and the name is building what database? Let's say database. So is this enough? Git ignore. Let's put this was build. I have a feeling that it should be a T at the end of this word. Build, no?
It should be, yeah, you're right.
Okay, so let's fix that.
I'll okay.
And
No, all they're okay. Okay, sorry, I don't know what you're doing. Okay.
Whatever. Okay, git status. Okay, git add. Git. Conditional. Okay, git push. Let's okay, git push. You know, I still don't understand why it runs twice every time. Okay, not every time. Every time I start a new one, then it calms down. But okay, so now it says start building. Okay, now if I change something in the README. Yeah, I should also run it. Can run it here, I guess, and it still shouldn't happen. The post cache. Let's see what does the post cache says. Say cache saved successfully. Okay, so it saved the cache, which was just an empty file, but fine. So now when I run this update, I hope that first of all the cache will be able to restore the cache restored. And then the building database is not building. Okay, is not building the database. Fine. Okay, and now if we change the requirements file and now I assume that my expectation that it should build the database. Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, so maybe there is a better way to do this, but let's try now to improve this with multiple files, GitHub workflows. So we said that we want the requirements txt, but let's put here other txt as well.
Okay.
Okay. So I assume now, I guess that it will build it now. Because even though the other file doesn't exist, but I'm not sure. So let's see. Okay, I'll just edit it to or README so you have a link. Okay, so change condition. Now I'm not sure if it needs to build. It doesn't build. Okay, fine. So now GitHub workflow CI. So now it's either the requirements txt or the other txt. So what if we touch the other txt? Shall I put something in, or shall we try it even with the empty? Add other. I have no idea how this hash thing calculates. So will it take in account an empty file differently than no file? And my assumption is that I wrote correctly that the usage of this hash thing.
Hmm.
Okay, it didn't run. I don't know. We'll see. Let's read the document. Okay, so we tried it enough times. Now we can read the documentation, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, we had the or fair time in hash files. No. Okay. You need probably a
Comma separator.
Yeah, so this is how it needs to be done. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I don't really know what's going on there, actually, but so we no, what am I pressing here? A. Oh, I'm in caps lock. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. That looked strange, the coloring of this one.
Did you need the
Oh,
quotes?
I removed one curly. Okay. Git diff.
Did you need the quotes around the comma separated bit?
This is, I think, at how
Oh
it's
yeah.
like,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we can have the so this is the hash files, but am I making it just extremely I'm wondering if I'm just over-engineering this now, but no, we need to change. No, we need to be able to compare the results of the previous run, basically, to see if it changed, right? And that's why we're playing with the cache. Okay, so now it built because now it has two things. And again, let me just make sure that I don't even need that. I think I can come here. Sorry. Oh, GitHub workflows. Yeah, I have the workflow dispatch, so I can come to the actions and actions shell. That's the name of shell, and run workflow. you see, it could also depend on the branch, this thing. So
that's good.
Because that's an issue. I mean, if that you want in a separate branch, start working on something and make sure that it has a different everything. Okay, so now I didn't build because it was a rerun, and if I change this file, then hopefully it will build. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can do this. Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe there is a better solution. I don't know, but that's sort of okay. So that's one thing to make it conditionally build something if you need. The other thing would be to speed up the. I mean, you can run things in parallel, even here, right? So I think that. How do I know how many CPUs I have on a Linux machine?
Well, different ways. I usually use top, and it tells you.
So does top have a comma? So if I run top, yeah. How do I know it here? It's htop I know.
C, just hit C. Not C. 1, I think. Goes to on numeric. There we go.
Okay. Right. What I wanted to okay, but I would like to have something that I can run on the command line.
It must be something in /proc, I would have thought. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's proc. Okay, I forgot already. Proc CPU info, and then processor, I guess. Okay. So I wanted to add this here to see what do we have on what machine do we have there. So one thing that you can run inside the job, things in parallel, well, that's why I'm looking at the CPU to see if we really have more cores. Because if you only have one core, then and you're doing this compilation or CPU intensive stuff, then it doesn't matter. But you can have these jobs running in parallel. Okay, so you can have several tasks, one of them doing this, another one doing something else. And in the free account, I guess, they let you start, or they will start 3 instances separate in parallel. Or that's what I noticed so far. I didn't read the documentation. So it has 2 cores. Right? That's somehow I understand.
Okay.
So that could be a way to try to speed up things, but it would also how many jobs can run? So okay, this is not what I wanted. No. I don't know. Maybe I didn't ask it correctly. Anyway, so if we have two jobs, then they will run two jobs. They will run in parallel, or okay. But and I guess up to three. And I was looking for the information if I pay them, then I can get more in parallel. Okay, but you can set up your own GitHub the runner, and then I guess if you set up more runners, then they can run in parallel. Then the limitation is that they don't want to start too many runners for each person in parallel. But if you set up, so you could set up a runner which is very powerful instead of running on their runners. Okay, yeah. You can set it up in some cloud, pay whatever amount of money they need to pay. I mean, it's for $50 or $100 you can already get, or pounds, you can already get I guess 6 or 8 cores, or even maybe more, constantly up. Okay, so you can do things faster then. Okay, and if you just have so you can run even if you're running proof, the Perl proof, I think you have the J flag, if I remember correctly, that will run parallel. The drawback of that is that I think it will mess up the output a little bit. It might be more difficult to follow what happened when. If you have debug messages or diag messages, but if you somehow divide your jobs, that you have these kind of tests, that kind of tests, and you run them in different GitHub Action jobs, then you can, each one of them can run on a single threaded or single CPU. But because there are multiple ones, they will run in parallel. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then and finally, one of the things. So one of the things I did at one company is that we had several levels of jobs, and basically we said that some basic thing will run on every commit, and then the heavier things will only run once an hour. Okay. Mm-hmm. And well, yeah. Ideally, I would run everything on every commit, and it would take a second. Okay, yeah. That would be the ideal. And then you start playing. Okay, what can you give up in this in order to fit into the budget?
Yeah, I think I was thinking something along those lines. Like compiling everything, for example. Obviously, most of the time, that's a waste of time. Particularly if all you've done is change the script and not a module, then the only thing that's affected is the script you're working on. So, but obviously, if you change a module, this could be repercussions. But again, if it was something like if you ran sort of significant tests on a sort of nightly basis and had a much more slimmed down one to do on a commit, really. And I guess it's the art is getting that right.
Yeah, you can have several levels of this. Okay, so things that run on every commit, things that run on every hour, things that run once a day, and I mean, But now I just started to think, why do you need to compile these things? So what you mean is just that you just run use on each module and that's it?
Well, just to compile the code really to make sure that it's, and occasionally people break code. I mean,
Yeah, but what
I've
I'm
done it.
saying is, what I'm thinking is that if you have enough test coverage, then that
Yeah.
includes already the compilation of each module. So the only reason to do this compilation is because it's much faster theoretically, or in fact, than all the rest of the tests. And if someone breaks some code syntactically, then it will stop the whole thing before you get into the heavy ones. But if that itself is heavy, then maybe you can get rid of it, because I mean, if unless you go to the direction of the purist that I also did in some places, in some project, where I wanted to make sure that each module can on its own be loaded. Because sometimes it happened that together everything worked, but individually not. Because there were some bad dependencies, okay? But
yeah, I guess that's just something we're gonna have to work on, really. I mean, deciding what's important and what's likely to cause errors. I mean, with that change thing, for example, the thing we were looking at just now, we're looking at files in different places, looking at files that have changed. We could say essentially something like there's not much point in doing the global compile unless one of the modules has changed, so not the scripts that depend on it.
okay.
But if one of the modules changes, then maybe we ought to check everything's compiled. But
Okay.
if they haven't changed, then why? Obviously, the thing we're working on, but we're doing tests for that anyway. So yeah, maybe, I mean, there's stuff like that we can do for sure. We'll just need to get our brains out and work out how to do it sensibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think even so, prove. I think the proof of Perl will store some history, and then you can tell it to run. Do I remember correctly, or I'm mixing it up? Then you can tell that to run the tests in some order based on how they ran earlier, or something like this. I don't remember exactly now.
There is something like that. There's something I use, which is to remember the ones that failed. You run the test and it saves the results. You get a nice and saves coverage and things. So you can see the test results with creates an HTML. I forget what it's called now. One of the harness things. But then at the end, it reruns the tests again with the things that failed and emails it to everybody. So that's kind of useful. But it still involves having a lot of stuff.
What I was thinking is that obviously, in order to have this history thing for proof, it needs to store some data.
Yeah.
But you can use the cache on GitHub, and in GitHub Actions you run every time on a different machine. But you can use the cache to save this data and restore it for next time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you are spending time on installing modules at the beginning of the CI.
Well, I guess we will have to, yeah. But yes, I mean, but I was imagining that we'd end up with some, with that being cached somehow.
Yeah, also, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say, that you can cache all those things as well.
Yeah.
And if you need to build a database, I mean, I guess, so how do you build it? In like some Perl code inserts data in order to prepare the data, or you dump the data and restore it?
It's essentially constructed from Perl, basically.
Because if it takes a long time, then maybe what you need to do is to create a dump of the database, and then use that dump in order to restore the database. That's I assume that's going to be much faster than this Perl.
Yeah.
And then when the database changes or whatever changes, then rebuild this whole thing again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think we do something along those lines already, but in a slightly different context. But yeah, so I think that's something like that, and coupled with the thing we were looking at earlier is yeah, I mean, exactly how we implement it. As you say, it's whether we build it from scratch or whether we restore it. We can work on. Yeah, that's good. I think there's lots of good ideas in that.
Like yeah. Like if you can think like this the open source project that the data that I'm collecting for there too, we have a cache that, because it's a lot of data, so once a day it rebuilds it, but during the day it will reuse that cache if we update the data. So and as with every caching, you have this trade-off of okay, being all the time up to date or being fast. Well, in this project, but so what you can also what was in this one of the examples, I think in the one that we saw. Do we still have this example somewhere? No. We had this example where there was an environment variable. So here in this, you can set some variable here. You can call it environment variable, whatever, and then make the cache depend on it. And then and if you need to force the cache to rebuild, you can change that environment variable. And actually, I think you can run, so here, where is it? Run all the jobs. GitHub action, run jobs on UI, set. That's again GitHub actions, GitLab. I know how to do this. I don't remember. Maybe it's this one. Let's try. But this is just an environment variable here. But if I set this, so the thing I was looking for, can I, from the UI, set an environment variable? So for this run, I will have a different value. Okay, workflow billing and limits. Concurrent jobs. Oh, depends on your GitHub plan. Here, what we just talked about, okay? So on a free, I still don't understand because I think it's running only 3 concurrently. Okay, whatever. So you can And by the way, here is the cache. So this is that's the hash that we see. And apparently, here this was when we tried incorrectly, I guess. And then the hash created something that. No. Event.
Do the caches disappear with time?
Yes, they have so here somewhere I read it that, but that has some I think 30 days or something, I don't know. But these are just filters. Strange. I don't see how can I set an environment variable here. GitHub action workflow dispatch parameters. Okay, I guess I'm not the first one to ask the things. Okay, but I don't see anything how to run how to provide parameters. Okay, I don't see. Providing inputs. You can configure custom defined input for properties default. Okay. Okay. Workflow dispatch inputs. Okay, so this is, I guess, what we can do. Let's do this one. So now if I go to the actions and I say shell and run workflow, then I have these various ways to provide input. And then let's say I can provide your rebuild, a flag rebuild, and then you can manually trigger some rebuild or whatever. Oh, so I put it in I'll separate this from this repo. I create a new repo with this demo, okay? And I put it later after the video also.
Yep.
Okay. Let's have a break and then we can continue. Let's have a couple of minutes break and then we continue with some more thing if you have ideas what to do. Okay.
Okay.
So,
bye.
see you later.